So the BALOR for Dungeons & Dragons 5e, remastering it. So what I've done is I have done very little in terms of changing how the BALOR works. What I did do was I did push its armor class from a 19 to a 20. Why? Because I think it needed to have a 20. 19 was fine, it really could have stayed there, but I think since it's a challenge rating 19 monster, it's going to be facing level 19 characters. That's really the level that you should be facing a BALOR, right? So their armor class is going to be pretty good. Their attack bonuses are going to be pretty good. So I just pushed it up a little bit. That doesn't push it out of the challenge rating range that is supposedly supposed to work for 5e, which we know is not very good. I did not change the hit points, but I recommend that you use between 378 and 262 hit points. I would go to the top end. You can go with the average, but I would go closer to the top end for high level play. And this is a high level play monster. I didn't change its speed or its fly speed, but I did give it the ability to hover so that they can't sort of reduce its speed to 0 and have it fall and plummet to the earth and then die. Where things like Earthbound or Earthbind and other things might be able to do that. I did not change any of the ability scores or modifiers, surprisingly. But I did give it a dexterity saving throw of +8 because that's its weakest thing. And we don't want to have too weak a dexterity saving throw if we can help it. Because it's such a common thing to be able to do as a player is to affect a dexterity saving throw. It had no skills. I've given it intimidation with a +11. I have not changed the damage resistances or the damage immunities. Okay, but I did increase the condition immunities. I've included being charmed. I don't think you should be able to charm a BALOR, or you can't frighten it, and I don't think you can grapple something like this. And certainly I think being stunned, I don't want you to be able to stun it. A monk stunning a BALOR is just going to be ridiculous, so I've included those as well. Everything else is perfectly fine. I did not actually change death throws. I believe the DC was a 20, and I'm actually fine with that. A DC 19 is sort of recommended for a challenge rating 19 monster, but 20 is only 1 point up, so I don't think it's going to be a big issue. I think leave it there, it's probably smart. Paladins are going to push up the player character's saving throws anyway, and they're probably going to have a paladin with them, or more than one. The fire aura, I did not change anything with that either. I actually think it's fine. Magic resistance, I didn't change that. I did change magic weapons. Okay, the BALOR's weapon attacks are magical with a +1 bonus to the whip and to the sword. So I've included a +1 bonus to attack and damage. And I don't know if I've included the change in the maths, but we'll find out soon enough. I've included for multi-attack that it can use a frightful presence just like a dragon. It has 4 attacks, 3 of which will be with the long sword and 1 with the whip. I have adjusted the attack modifier from a 14 to a 15 because that's more in line with what the characters are likely to have as well. I haven't changed the damage, but because you're doing more attacks, instead of just doing 1 sword attack and 1 whip attack, you're doing 4 attacks. So that's going to sort of help increase the amount of damage you do per round. I think that's a smarter way of dealing with it. I did not change anything else in terms of that. The frightful presence, the only thing that is different here really from a dragon is the DC here is a 20 wisdom saving throw, okay? Everything else is identical to a dragon's frightful presence. The range is 120 feet, which I think is a good range. Let's stick with that. I've included another ability though, called Abyssal Gate. So once per day, the BALOR can open a gate to the abyss to escape, or call forth 1d6 Verok, Hezru, and or Galbruzi, I think it is. So basically, it can call forth some demons to help it in a battle. That's the whole point. Maybe they come in, they do the fighting, and the BALOR escapes, or it just uses them as additional, lieutenants or minions. I've actually changed the teleport from being an action because it takes up too much of the action economy. And instead what I've done is I've made that a free action with teleport, and that's once per round. So once per round is a free action, you can teleport up to 120 feet. That means you can get past a magic wall that's been put up in front of you, things like that. And that is really the extent of it. I did not include anything else. I've always found the BALOR's been a reasonably well-designed monster in 5e. I don't think there's a huge amount wrong with it, other than maybe it's probably a little bit too easy if you're lower than level 19, which can be a bit of a problem, I guess. But it was never designed to be a solo monster. You have to put other demons or monsters with the BALOR. So either have 2 BALORs or 1 BALOR and a group of demons of some kind for them to actually work. I'll put this up on Patreon if you're interested.